Isabel and I were two spoiled brats. You know, we got everything our way, which was nice.
Yeah.
To get away with it. Born 1910.
Right.
Too young to really realize what that would mean.
Then
They were really tough.
Mhm.
There was no money
Mhm.
anywhere.
So all your neighbors didn't have money either. So
Nobody had any money,
Right.
which is why we didn't have any.
So it was the two of you plus a cousin who grew up together. And what school did you go to up there?
Willard Street.
Willard Street School.
Hmm.
Then to
High school.
high school. And the high school was at it was the old Jamestown High School then, wasn't it?
That's, mm-hmm. That's right.
Who's your favorite teacher? When you became a teacher, who was your role model?
You know, I had so many. Ebba Goranson, probably.
Pippa Goranson?
You probably don't remember her.
Remember the name?
But she probably was the best musician, except Brian Bogie,
Mm-hmm.
that we ever had here.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely superb. And she's the one that started all the a cappella choirs and all the things that, you know, we think are so wonderful. She did them.
Right.
She was really outstanding.
Then you graduate from Jamestown High School. What class were you?
27.
1927. Then what happened?
Then I went to Fredonia. Fredonia was inexpensive.
Right.
Didn't have any money, that's simple.
Did you always want to be a teacher?
Not especially.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to do everything else.
Mhm.
I love economics.
Right. Were you a sports person? Did you enjoy any particular
I used to play tennis
tennis?
and swim.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that was known as the Fredonia
Normal school.
Normal School. Do you have any recollections of the school? Any funny anecdotes?
Well, I can remember the head of the music department. He thought he was above God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was so important. And I can still see him. Of course, he got fired at the end.
Mhm.
For a while he worked.
Right.
And I can still see him coming with a fur-lined winter coat,
Mm-hmm.
all fur-lined.
Right.
Terribly impressed we were with this gorgeous critter with a fur lining.
Right.
We'd never seen that like that.
Mm-hmm.
So of course we had luck. Of course I got a job in Falconer
Right.
for, you know, and I did all the work. I did, you know, grade schools and the choir and all that kind of stuff. But I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Was there sort of a genre of music that you enjoyed more than others?
Well, you know, don't forget in those days you didn't have any, well, there's no competition.
Mm-hmm.
There was no real, you can think of some other band that played or something. It was all right here. It took a long time before that music caught up with us.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it was not like now. It was all canned music you'd have today, but you know, didn't have any of that then. We had 250 kids
Mm-hmm.
in each school. So north side, south side. So today we would buy 10 cents worth of crepe paper, because that's what you bought. You could get one of those things they remember,
Right.
like this. And the teachers made flowers, tulips, and rabbits. You can name it. They made everything out of crepe paper. And when those 250 kids lined up for their annual due, it couldn't have been prettier. They were so pleased because the teachers, no tenure, they all did it.
Right.
They all did all the work. And the teachers rolled all these little dinky rolls, big things. And to this day, somebody will meet me uptown and say, "Do you remember when I was a bunny in your operetta?" I said, "Sure, I do." But you know, that's pretty That's what it meant to them.
Ancestry of most of the kids are
Italian,
Italian.
Swedish. You know, when I look back and I think, what a privilege we had. We could have had Swedish and Italian, English.
Right.
It was right there, and we let it slip.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that was a terrible error?
Right.
Because we could have had two languages.
Right.
Two. No trouble.
Where were you when you heard about this on December 7th, 1941?
I always remember this. I was with my father, and we were finding a trunk. I don't know what for, but something. A trunk for somebody to paint, I guess. You know, we did a lot of crazy paintings and trials, and attic pieces, I call them. And I remember my dad being there to buy, at the mission, to buy this trunk.
What did you think when it came over the radio?
Well, I thought, can't be true.
Right.
It couldn't be. You know, you think how horrible that thing was, and all of a sudden, it was over.
Right. Did you, how did it affect your life? 1941, 42, World War II?
Well, I think we all had to figure we should do our part,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we got into all this volunteer
Right.
work, because, well, we figured it was our duty, I guess.
Did you have a victory garden?
Oh, sure. Everybody had a victory garden.
What was a victory garden?
Oh, the big cabbages,
Yeah.
cucumbers, everything. We grew everything.
Right.
And we canned and did all the crazy things people do.
Did your father and you have coupons?
Oh, sure,
Right.
everything.
What else did you do?
Well, then I got busy on the hospital
Mm-hmm.
board, and I served that for 20-some years as a treasurer.
Right.
So that was a long interval,
Right.
and, you know, I learned a lot,
Right.
because that was the day you could do things. You know, the government asked you every minute what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
so that made a difference. I always think the funny one was, I was on the YM Board
Mm-hmm.
in Jamestown,
Right.
and I think I know I was the first one on the board.
First female on the YMCA board, huh?
Yes, that's crazy, but that's the way it was. And the only reason I was, is we had this great big gym class, and we were, you know, a lot of people came, and so they couldn't figure out whom they might elect,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody wanted to be it, except me, because I was the oldest. I didn't really care at all about being elected.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I happened to get into the thing for YMCA.
You've had some funny experiences. I've heard you tell some funny stories, Juliet.
I've had a lot of funny stories.
Give me a couple of examples.
Well, let's see. Would you like the one when I dropped the tomato and the ketchup?
Absolutely.
Well, one was coming home from Mozart Club, and those were the days that we dressed up, you know. You didn't come like you do a pair of jeans, heaven help us. We had black veil, you know, fastened, beautiful. And I was coming home, and I said to the gal I was driving, and I had my pink convertible. So I thought I was about the fanciest job around. I found out later that I wasn't, but I thought I was. And I said, I only got to get two things. And I went in, and I had long black kid gloves on up to here. You know, couldn't be fancier. And so help me, Hannah, when I got up to the cashier, I slipped one, you know, out of my hand, trying to grab the other one, and I was blood from here to there, all on my ketchup and my white starch. You can imagine anything worse. And I said to the man, maybe if you'd help me, I could get cleaned up. If I were you, I'd go home and stay there. It was awful. Then I came the next week and I thought, gee, I got to buy all my groceries here. We're going to lose so much money. So I was going along, you know. I'm not a very good shopper. I go this and that, you know, where I feel like I'm not very organized. And so I looked and I had hit a 20-pound bag of sugar by mistake. And here I had this, you know, Hansel and Gretel whole thing over the whole Lobach store, all the way, up and down, in and out. You couldn't have managed it. I'm telling you, I'm sure they said, if you see her coming, we're going to say follow her, because otherwise you'll never get through.
Oh, that's fabulous. Tell me about, what's your impressions of Lutheran as it's grown?
Well, it's amazing what we've done in this short amount of time. And don't forget two things. Norberg had compassion for every individual in the nursing home. I don't care whether they broke their leg or what it was. He knew about it.
Right.
And another thing, he had compassion for every single person. It was really unusual. Not many people that are that bright are that smart.
Right.
But he was. Because he knew what buttons, and we never built anything if we didn't have the money for it first.
Right.
Because he saw that we did it. He went out and got the money, and then we built it.
Right.
Simple.
Why the scholarship at Falconer School?
Because I taught school there, and the pupils as a whole are have a lot less money, come from out in the country, don't have the assets or the opportunities that these kids have.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really had a mission. I thought they needed it. And right now I think what I'm going to do is my extra money, if I have any, when I get through, I'm going to put into a foundation for the library in Falconer, so they always have a library. I think that'd be nice, don't you?
Oh, well, I'm a big fan of Falconer, but a big fan of Sue Siemens.
She is, without doubt, one of the finest people I've ever seen.
That's right.
Sue Siemens is something that you can't equal.
That's right. No, I've been the attorney for the village for over 25 years, and I've seen how that's progressed, and there are some real stellar people, and Sue's right at the top.
Isn't she, though? Well, that's what I feel. And so right now, I truly plan to give a good, start, a good foundation for all the books in the Falconer Library. So they always have books to read. It's a privilege. I always say, yesterday's gone, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, and that's what it is. Every day is a gift.